Welcome to the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast for all decision makers and action takers. Take it away, Esther.
And welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today we're talking about not taking yourself too seriously. Well, that seems like something that Melanie and I have got down quite well, don't you think?
I'd say so. I think you and I are probably up there with the people who really do not take themselves seriously at all.
But is that just something that we do for the podcast, or do you do that as well with Stomp?
Yeah, I guess I feel a bit freer here than I do in Stomp, but because it's very difficult to banter with yourself. It's not as easy.
True. But in my case with IPA Group, we are a more serious agency just because of the people that we're trying to reach. But it doesn't mean we can't have a laugh or enjoy some of the weird and wonderful marketing days that there are out there and just let our hair down from time to time.
I mean, how would you put your humour across when you do it?
I'd probably tell a few jokes and just, or add in some memes, few videos if we have any of the outtakes that have been done for any of our blogs that we've written. We have some videos that have been recorded for those, and there's outtakes and bloopers that, you know, there's probably more minutes of those than there are of actual video, but just show that, you know, you're just human and you're just like everybody else. I mean, yes, you can be as serious as you need to be for the audience that you have, but if you don't let your hair down from time to time, people are going to just start thinking that it's a bot that's running the account and there's no emotion behind it at all. So it's definitely, you know, if there's a day that you can show the behind the scenes at the office, or, you know, we used to do a day in the life of internally, not on the, you know, not sharing it across, but it helped us to get to know our other team members better. And some of them are hilarious and they just don't have that outlet so easily in the work situation.
Well, I don't have all the possibilities you have, unfortunately. But do you know what I do have is a certain element of self-ridicule that comes as part and parcel of being English.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, you can be very, very self-deprecating, and it becomes a quite easy, quite normal thing to do. And if I took myself seriously being a sole trader, wow, how boring would that be?
Yeah.
And I prefer to bounce off people. I love when I do in-person training or speaking or anything like that, because I miss that connection. And so because I appreciate how important that connection is, because I don't have it that often, I try and imbue it more frequently in my stories, my reels, my blog posts. And I'm less afraid of putting myself out there than some people in this podcast.
Yes, I know.
So, yeah, I think a sense of humour has become, now as I've got more confident and more or less self-aware, I think it's actually become easier. And I think everybody's got to embrace it these days, don't they? That if you take yourself too seriously in this climate, you just get cancelled, honestly.
Yeah. And it is one of those things that there's also that fine line between humor and sarcasm. You know, the Irish thrive off the sarcasm, and there's times that I'm, you know, thinking of ideas for the content and going, no, I don't think anybody would understand that, my type of humor, because I don't do videos, because I don't do, you know, front of camera. then it doesn't come across the same way in written text. And that's why, it's important to use other ways of communicating, whether it's through images, whether it's through emojis, like I said, memes, uh, videos of other people. There's lots and lots of ways to get your message across, because sometimes just written text, if people that are reading it don't know you, they could take it the wrong way, and
Mm,
it could, backfire on you completely. It's like, we Melanie and I are both huge consumers of a very popular platform that starts with T and ends with TikTok. Um, and there are people on it where there's sometimes you don't know if they're being serious or if they're actually, if it's just satire or sarcasm. And it is on video, but because of their demeanor and, the way they're holding themselves, you're like, are they for real? Do they really not know that that is, you know, it's anyway, you need to show your personality. And if your personality is serious all the time, that's fine too. You don't have to go looking for humor. You don't have to go looking to be somebody else.
mm,
What we're saying here in this episode, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't also, I would say, don't stick so rigorously or religiously to, I must post every day for 30 days to, increase my reach. Okay, do that, but then you'll have to post the next 30 days every day to keep your reach. So don't be more flexible with yourself. Don't take yourself to be, if I don't do this, I have failed.
mm,
Okay. Having goals is wonderful. Reaching those goals is even better.
mm,
But if you take longer to reach them, that's okay too. Okay. So, yes, we're talking about being humorous, being, letting your hair down from time to time, but also giving yourself that freedom to go, today, I have too much client work to be able to promote my own business. Or today, I am spending the day with my family and not doing any work. Those are okay too.
mm. I think also you can do too much humour as well. I think if you do it too often, it can tarnish your reputation. There are people out there that are meant to do it, like the Matt Rifes of this world.
Yep.
But even they do it with a business sense. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
they know when there's a time to do it and when there's a time not to do it. And if you've managed to capture a good dose of people because of some humorous or less serious thing that you've done, you can't necessarily replicate that every single time. You know, it's so hard to make that a reality, a weekly occurrence or a monthly occurrence. And I think if you can just change the narrative periodically to sort of stop people as they're scrolling, because they've come to expect a certain tone of voice, a certain patter from you.
Mm-hmm.
But by just simply changing it every now and then, it kind of shocks them and makes them stop in their tracks and maybe sees a different facet of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, Melanie, you are a sole trader. You work exclusively alone with yourself. Would you ever come on as an alter ego running your account? Or would you,
Hmm.
the way that we have here in the podcast, it's like a third person talking about us, and showing all our flaws, as well as all the good stuff about us. But would you ever do that on your own account?
Hmm. I have sort of created, um, non-real situations that I've responded to as a form of humor. Sometimes it's even real situations that I've responded to, because again, because I've got nobody to banter with, I have to create my own banter. And sometimes that is because of a question that I was asked. I mean, a lot of my blogs are actually a situation that I've gone through or something I've had to explain. That's God's honest truth. Um, and then from there, I tend to repurpose content into stories or reels or whatever, or even podcasts. Several of
Mhm.
the podcasts we've done over the years have been blogs I've written. So yeah, I guess I do, but I can't pretend that I am anything other than a soul trader. So I have to also be quite sincere and honest in that,
Yeah.
it's me, myself, and I. At least you've got a team you can hit over the
Yeah,
head.
I I have a team, but I know of a number of sole traders who will use the royal we,
Oh, yeah.
and you know, um, that's. I mean, it's okay up to a point, but I would say you're not being true to yourself, um, by sort of saying, "Oh yes, we," as in me. Be open and honest with people. It's they're not going to think less of you if it's just one person. They're probably actually going to think that you're Wonder Woman or Superman if there's just the one and you're able to do so much stuff. So, guys, just don't take yourself too seriously. Think of ways to incorporate humor, think of ways to let your hair down, think of ways to relax in your own business and just enjoy it. Because at the
Mm.
end of the day, this is your livelihood. This is what you're working on. It shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be a hardship to go to work every day.
And if you do want to sort of inject humor into a business that you previously haven't, then don't do it too full on. One of the first things that I do when I manage people's social accounts, and I know Esther does the same, is if we want to change sort of our brand persona to an extent, we have to do it over a period of time. Otherwise, we can literally turn our customers off. They'll
Yeah.
jump off ship as quick as anything if they don't feel they're being served by the right type of person anymore. So if you do want to inject humor, please be very deliberate and very careful about how you do it. Obviously, don't touch any particularly sensitive topics. I'm sure I don't need to say them, so I won't.
No.
But there's a lot of things you can have humor and humorous things between stories, between facial expressions. We know, myself and Esther know quite a few people who use very humorous facial expressions in their images, in their graphics. Ian Anderson Gray being one, and Amanda Webb being another. They
Hmm.
immediately pop into my head when I think of that. So you can do that. You don't have to become a stand up comedian just to impress your audience.
Exactly. Well, I hope we've left you with some food for thought with today's episode. Um, do follow us on all our social platforms. Remember to ask your smart speaker to play the Monday Morning Marketing podcast, and you will be able to hear all of our over 240 episodes that way. We're back next week with another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing podcast. And until then, bye bye.
Bye. I'm still waving. Do you know any jokes, Esther?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Actually, no. I've just forgotten it completely
That's
because there's
pathetic.
because, and I'll tell you why. Because there is an animal standing in the field behind my house that just reminded me of my most favorite joke in the world. Do you
And
want to
then
hear
you
it?
forgot it.
No, I forgot the knock knock joke because of the other one. So two cows standing in a field. One
Yeah.
says moo. The other said, "Funny, I was about to say that."
Oh, you're such a farmer's daughter.
Yep.